The copper age is heating up, and one franchise is leading the charge: the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. But which TMNT books are actually selling for the most? We're not just talking first appearances, we're talking top sellers. January's 2025 sales charts reveal some interesting trends. Copper Age Chartbusters. These are books that came out in 1985 to 2000. It's going to get crazier, Shane. It's going to get crazier. Let's take a look at number 5.
I feel like Chris and Rob's giveaway now.
All right. Sandman number 8, the editorial variant. This came out in 1989 for DC Comics, DC's vertical line, but it wasn't vertical just yet, so it's just DC. This is the first appearance of Death of the Endless. What's more important is that it features Karen Berger editorial that wasn't in the standard edition. This book sold at Heritage Auction on January 12th for $6,000. It's the one that you see on screen right now. It's 9.8.
I'm going to have to look into this one because I am not familiar with the editorial variant. Maybe I own it, Izzy. I could own this book.
If you do, send it my way. Because I love Sandman.
Do you know, like, what is there anything on the cover that remarks it as being the editorial variant?
Yes. So on the cover, no. But on the slab, there is a notion of it. What it is, I don't know. I don't know how exactly it is marked. Obviously, it's an editorial. So the real question is, how did this book end up being this sought after? And really, what caused this editorial variant to happen? That's where my curiosity lies.
Yeah. I don't know anything about this this variant, so I'm definitely going to spend some time and look that up because I do. Yeah. I have a copy of it. I just bought it off the shelf. I don't know anything about that one.
Yeah, and I love this book. I am in the process of collecting some Sandman books. Unfortunately, now with all that's going on in a certain guy's life, this book might actually go up.
I was just going to ask that question to you. We don't need to get into the weeds of all of it, but when stuff like this happens, there is a tendency for that to happen. And for the books to either go down or go up because there's so much attention. People are like, they think, oh, now is the time to buy them, which drives the price up. I think when you're buying back issues, you're not really providing any more money to DC or Gaiman if that's something that concerns you. You really, if you're buying it to complete your collection like you, I have the full run already. I closed that up a few years ago. Yeah, I'm just curious, like, if you think that it would go up or down.
So I say it goes up, just for the notion that his name is on people's mouths. So the fact that people are talking about him, and the fact that people really, this is one of those situations. The last time I could think of a celebrity of any kind, because Neil Gaiman is a celebrity. Let's be honest, a celebrity now.
Yeah,
he reached celebrity status. I believe it goes up because he's reached that status, and there are people out there that believe, like you said, that back issues are going to go away too. It's kind of like the whole seduction of the innocence thing that happened in the 50s. Let's burn all these copies. So everybody's going to burn their copies and makes this book rare. That's kind of the impression that some people have. And I'm not saying I'm not saying the collector, the investor, the guy who's into. I'm talking about the casual investor, the guy who just shows up and wants to buy a book and spends $28,000 on a Spider-Man ASM. That kind of collector, you know what I'm saying? With the book, like you said, the comic book, the actual floppy, he's not getting any residuals for that. He would for trade paperbacks. And in fact, they were going to release the facsimile of this book, and they stopped it because he was going to get royalties for it. Now, Neil Gaiman, which I'm going to say his name here because might as well, he has gotten the record and he's given up some of his royalties for certain things. but at the same time, this is kind of a way he makes a living. He makes money. He makes money off of this. Whatever's to come out of this, whether he did it or not, he's already tainted.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And like I said, I didn't say the name, but the last person that could think that it was heartbreaking to hear something like this was Bill Cosby to me. Projecting yourself to be a certain character to turn out you're the exact opposite of that character. And more importantly, you were promoting to be like this character that you were supposed to have been. Which, again, I'm not here judging his character or what he's done, but let's be honest, this tainted his legacy.
Definitely. And the other thing that I think of too, and you know, it's strange because take a show like Sandman, all of the people involved in that show that are working, you know, not everybody is a big movie star that's going to get their top dollar. Like even the main actor for that, I think he does a phenomenal
he does a great job.
But what else is he in? Like, I don't really know. So all of those people that are affected by this, and you know, not taking anything away from the seriousness of the allegations for sure, but it's just interesting to me to when I think about it that way, it's like all of these people that are now involved in the show, and realistically, let's just say that because DC is now saying that season 2 we were always planning on that being
that's a lie,
the final season, which I agree that was never the case. There is so many things that could be done with this series. It could go on for years if the viewership was there.
So yeah, and I'm with you on that. I think it's a shame that this is happening. I'm a little curious to know whether this sale was as a result of that, because it is January 12th that it was sold. So it's quite possible that that's the reason why this book sold for what it is, because this is an auction, so that number drove up. The actual book in itself, a 9.8 is going for, you know, that is the fair market value of the book. This book at one time did go for $10,000. So, and that was 2022 as well. So it's kind of hard, you know, it's kind of hard to look at it from that perspective, but you know, it's still a shame. This is a classic book, first appearance of Death. It's a great story. I love this story. I remember reading it. It's really good. So that's number 5. Okay, let's take a look at number 4. All right, let me see if I can get this right. Gobbledygook, number 1.
Gobbledygook.
Gobbledygook. I was thinking about the Wrestling Survivor Series, Gobbledygook. A 5.5 for 1984 Mirage Studios. This is 5.5, sold for $13,200 on Heritage Auctions on January 12th as well. This is a back cover ad for the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and it predates their first appearance. This book that we see here at a 5.5 sold for $13,200. Guys, this is number 4 on this list.
This is the book that, you know, you're sitting back in your Scrooge McDuck and you're in your piles of money and you have TMNT number 1 and a 9.8, and you're like, isn't there something more I can do with my money with Turtles? And then somebody goes, oh, you thought you had the first appearance? No, it's this. And you go, damn it, give me that Malibu book. Now you're looking for this one.
Yeah. I honestly thought the actual first appearance of the Turtles was the Turtles. I didn't know that there was an ad for them prior.
Is an ad a first appearance? I don't know. Like,
well,
now you're
but the fact that it is, you know, low print, it's an indie book. It's the Turtles before the comic book actually came out. So there's precedence for it. I'll say that much. There's precedence for it. Wow. An ad sold for $13,000. Let's take a look at number 3. It's the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. An 8.0 1984 Mirage Studio sold for $14,950. This was a fixed price on eBay. And if you know, it's the first appearance of the actual first appearance of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. That gobbledygook, that ain't no Incredible Hulk 180. I'm just saying.
Yeah. This book, I just have like a off relationship with this book because I was collecting when this book came out. I was in a comic book store. I'd heard about it. I saw it. I saw many copies on the shelf, and I picked it up and looked at it and just was like, who is going to buy a book about this? This is silly. And I put it back.
How old were you, if you don't mind me asking?
Well, this is 80, 86 or 84.
This is 84.
So I was like 13.
So you were a teenager, young teenager, and you said to yourself, who's going to want this? And looking back now, all these years later, 30 years later, no, 40 years later.
Yeah.
40 years later, so I could definitely check how old you are now. 40 years later.
54 now.
And you're saying, and you look at it and you say, because I know what I would say. I would say, I am the most stupid idiot in the world right now. Not that you knew, of course, you didn't know what you had, but it is the one that got away.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And that's why when I see this book, I just always I do the Picard face palm.
Mm-hmm. Do you ever feel the need of actually getting it one day?
No, I don't. I don't have any FOMO for this book or anything like that. I didn't grow up. I grew up in the country, so we didn't have TV for most of my childhood.
Did you have chickens?
We had chickens, lots of chickens. But I missed out on all the Turtles, the cartoon and the hype and all that. So I don't miss it at all. I just, whenever I see it, I'm always reminded I'm right back in the store, holding it in my hand and, not buying it.
I remember when I was in junior high school and I had one of my friends in my class. We were part of a group where we were artists and we were drawing for the local school paper, whatever it was. They wanted to do the school paper. We were doing little sketches and we were doing, silly comic book covers. Like, we were doing our little thing. And I remember drawing Iron Fist. I did Nighthawk. And then my friend, he drew one of the Turtles and he drew them in this fashion, Kevin Eastman's style. And I remember looking at it, I was like, okay, cool. Not knowing anything about the Turtles at the time. And, he started hearing about the Turtles and stuff like that. And then the cartoon obviously showed up afterwards. I remember how people really loved the Turtles, especially the kids. The kids were loving Turtles. The cartoons were fun. I remember watching the cartoons, and I was a teenager at the time. And I was like, this is just a fun show, And to think all these years later, how valuable this book has become. One, because it's an indie book, and we talked about how indie books become way more expensive than your standard Marvel DC books, even Image now, when you think about it. This is one of those books that stood the test of time. They obviously keep producing more Turtles properties. It's a license now, right? $14,000, $15,000 if you add the $50, really. For 8.0 is amazing to look back at it now.
Yeah, I agree.
That's number 3. Let's take a look at what's number 2. Okay. Before we stop and think about it, look at the grade, okay? Before you say anything. New Mutants 98, 1991 Marvel Comics. This is the first appearance of Deadpool. Domino, who's actually Copycat, and Gideon, who's really the star of this book. This book sold at Heritage Auction for $24,000 at a 9.9.
This is definitely like one of the ones we were talking about in the last segment. someone had a whole bunch of these, either graded 9/8 or just a stack of them, and sent them in hoping for this grade because they knew there was a payout in it. Um, that's so much money for a 9/9.
Well, we've seen this, right? We've seen this plenty of times, that a 9/9 grade becomes this unobtainable grade for most people, right? When you get a 9.9, it's like, oh wow, this book is now triple its price. I believe this is more than triple.
Yeah, I think it's usually 10 or 20 times.
So just to think about how this book will grow in time, will it be worth more? This book, this 9.9, or will this be it?
I truly believe that as more 9.9s come out, the price is going to push down on these, and that is going to affect the 9/8s, and it's going to push them down. It's clear if you watch. I watch a ton of YouTube. If you watch enough, there's a really good channel. I don't want to say the wrong name, so I won't say it. I just can't remember for sure.
Yeah.
But he does a lot of analysis on the 9/9s and new ones coming out. And you can plainly see there was a point in time where CGC did not release 9.9s very, very infrequently. And then fast forward 2 months, and there was hundreds of them that was being released.
Yeah. Well, just to give you insight, a PGX copy of a 9.9, PGX 9.9, $4,000.
Yeah.
And a 9.8 just sold for $1,050.
Yeah. And to answer somebody's question there, and I don't think that's happening yet, because people are still pushing out these piles of, because there's no 9/9 screen yet, they're sending in, tons of these type of books where the margins are really high, but you can get a 9/8 or a new mint or near mint raw copy fairly inexpensively, and then turn that profit 10, 20 times for a potential 9/9 or 10.
Yeah.
So it hasn't happened yet, but this is something that I really believe is going to be, this time next year is going to be more of a conversation for sure.
Yeah. And I think when it comes to heritage auction sales, sometimes they have a tendency of overselling the price. And this is an auction. So this was from an auction. This is with people bidding for this book.
Yeah.
And the book of this book rides to $24,000. So people wanted this book, and obviously someone got it for way more than I think they should have paid for it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's go to our next book in number 1 for the Copper Age. Amazing Spider-Man 238. This was 1983 from Marvel Comics. Features the first appearance of Hobgoblin Ned Leeds. $31,200 at also a 9.9.
Just again, the 9/9s, I get it. I mean, but realistically, if I covered the label and I showed you 2 books, I imagine you would have a hard time picking a 9/9 out of the lineup. I don't know if you watched it or not, but when they showed the video of the new CGC vice president or whatever, I was just like, that's what they're doing.
That's the
it was
difference.
Unbelievable.
Again, I would love to own it, to say I have it. I'm not paying that much money for it. A 0.1 is not worth that much more to me.
I have a 9/9 in my collection, a slab that I'm happy. I have one, and I really I keep it because it's a 9/9, and I can look at it every once and go, it's possible. It's right here.
I love this book. I think it's a classic cover.
Oh,
I think it's earned its place, of course, for what it is, and the potential of what's to come for it. Because I think that's probably what's driven this price. The potential. of what's to come.
Oh, I
Because
absolutely agree. I love this cover. This is like 15 or 16-year-old me when this came out. And this is when, especially Amazing Spider-Man covers, but most covers, they wanted to sell the book. And this
Mhm.
clearly does that. This is an amazing cover. Total classic. I agree. Like, I just think,
Mhm.
you know, everybody should own this book if you're a fan, especially of Spider-Man
Mhm.
or whatever. But
Yeah.
a 9.9 for that much money, again, I would turn that
Mhm.
money and I would buy myself a 9.8.
You want to know for how much the 98 went for? A nine,
Okay, so let's guess 9.9, 10 times. I'm going to say it was a little bit higher and go 7,000.
$1,525.
So there you go. That 20 times is about,
This is 30 times.
and that's those ratios that I'm talking about where people are taking those like stacks of 25 and sending
Mhm.
them in because the margin is so much higher. They're taking the chance on it.
Now, this is not a book that we talk a little bit about like Mark Jewelers and things like that, and how Mark Jewelers have a higher price because of whatever. Uh, this is not a Mark Jewelers. If it was a 9.9 with a Mark Jewelers, would you accept that price tag? Not to say that you will buy. I'm not saying you will buy. I'm saying would you accept that as a price tag?
Yeah, I would say like, and I don't know if this one, because of the tattoos, I haven't looked at that yet. I'm not sure if this one was a Mark Jeweler option. I know that mine is
Mhm.
a Canadian price variant, which again, I'll annoy people, but I truly believe that variant, the Canadian price variant,
Mhm.
had no tattoos in it, and
Yeah.
there were only now they're just all in it because people added them in. So,
Yeah. There is a Mark Jewelers for this
oh, there
book.
is. Okay,
Yeah. There are
that
Mark
would be
Jewelers.
very rare then.
Mhm. So Mark Jewelers do exist for this book, as well as newsstands, which is not that big of a deal anyway at
Yeah.
this era. Um, a Mark Jewelers, they don't even have 9.8. The highest they have is 9.4. Goes for $800.
Yeah, the usual math on it for anybody that doesn't really know is, and you can get like a pence version and all that. Just Canadian price variants are a little bit more sought after
Mhm.
right now, anyway. Is they're usually about 10 times less common because of the print run difference.
Yeah.
So that you actually could find a Mark Jeweler Canadian price
Mhm.
variant and
Mhm.
someone actually put tattoos in it, like that would be because I only speak this because so my copy, I've looked at it, and if
Mhm.
you tore them out, you would see some evidence of it would be there. Like you would be able to tell because it's just an insert on one of the staples, and there is like nothing there that indicates that anything was there. So it's just
Yeah.
and you know
Mhm. Yeah. There you have it. That was number one for the Copper Age. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more comic content. Check out these other videos for even more insight. And I'll see you at the next one. Excelsior.